Check, check, check. Again, this is a test. A test to make sure we get the settings correct. All right. I think everything is good here. Or did I share this platform? And the games are probably getting underway. So all the screens are updated. I am the coach, Brian Wilson. This is the championship of the Michigan State Cup. Thank you for joining. Making sure that everybody has the right link here. Thanks for joining us in the chat today. This is the Michigan Monsters versus the Washington State chess team. That's happening as we are speaking. We have everything situated. For that they're not yet underway. Let me check our Discord. Discord is also a platform that we are using for the Michigan State Cup. Shout out to the people from Discord. Also, shout out to Michigan Chess Association, led by our president and team captain here for the Michigan State Cup. Leading the way is Jeff Aldridge, and the support of the Michigan Chess Association board. Shout out to everybody out there. We also have Virginia and Iowa playing a consolation match, or a third place, a match for third place is going on right now. As all the boards are updated for the games, you can see right under my picture is the roster for the Washington State chess team. The name plus their username, Lichess username, lichess.org is our platform that we're using. That's their Lichess username plus their government name. Government. And our first game is going to be what we're looking at now. Actually, I don't think this is. Oh, they are playing right now. Okay, I don't see any moves on this board yet. So let's go to Mark Hyman, which is squatted up. He is the Michigan Monsters first board. Hopefully you like the design of the Michigan Monsters. Michigan Monsters, the mascot by voters on Michigan Chess Association website. It was a bunch of names that I put on the site, and we took a vote, and the moniker Michigan Monsters won out. And I like it because Michigan has been playing like monsters in this state's cup. There's been at least, I would say, 40 teams. And these are the last two teams left, Michigan and Washington. It's going to be a hell of a matchup. There are three national masters, 1, 2, and 3, on the Washington team. I can get everything updated. Looks like they might be starting to play now as these boards are flicking. That means the game's coming with them. I want to get all these boards updated first. I am the coach, Brian Wilson. Shout out to all Implodians that are joining us in this, watching this Michigan State Cup. You know, the Implodians, for those of you who don't know, Implodians are my students. I love for them to get to watch strong players online that we are watching right now. And I know they have pride in their Michigan State team. Shout out to all the Implodians out there watching. A shout out to my Cass Tech team, 4-time champions. Got to give them a shout out here. Cass Tech of Detroit. Shout out to all of those who are watching the State Cup. Right now, we're watching the top player, Washington team. He's playing our top 100 player, young junior Ryan Wang, who has the username Ryan Wiz. And we see like a let me say something about Kyle Henning. We're having some problems, some technical difficulties with the stream a little bit. So, guys, if you see me go off, I'm going off on purpose just to reset the stream. Reset the stream and the settings. So it might be better for the stream to just get reset and start it over, because sometimes you got to get in that groove when you are streaming. But we're watching Ryan Wang versus their top player, Kyle Hanning. One thing I know about Kyle Hanning, he is a Kings Indian player. He plays the modern defense versus E4, Kings Indian defense versus E4. He's an E4 player. So I believe that he is a Bobby Fischer model. You're talking about Kings Indian defense playing E4 every time. That is a Bobby Fischer model right there. And you see that he plays this Knight A6 version of the Kings Indian defense here. And as he's taking a think here, you gotta watch it, because Ryan Wang has scored against some very high players in the last lineup, or the last match we had in the semifinals. Ryan Wang scored a big point against the top board from, I believe it was Virginia. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. Now here we are watching Tony Nichols, rated over 2100, and he's playing D. D. Who DZ is? Oh, that's their second board, Derek Zhang. You see he has a really high quick rating, 2572. Tony Nichols has his hand full, but Tony Nichols has been scoring really well for us. This is probably our highest scoring lineup that was put together by Jeff Aldridge this final match. Tony Nichols plays his patented Stonewall structure, Leningrad, and he's very comfortable in these structures. Let's move on to National Master James Canty. So here we're watching James Canty, who has a terrific record in the Cup. And again, I love James Canty when he has the other person's king in the center. And that's what's happening now. James has now you see that he is National Master GM Canty because he's speaking it into existence. He's striving to be a Grandmaster, but I will say this. Tactics is not a part of his game that he lacks. He has Grandmaster tactics, especially when you have your king in the center. He's tall and has Medinov, all kinds of very active and players to embrace the initiative. And he has that position now with the black pieces. Looks like this started as a King's Indian defense, I believe. Indian defense with the Chettle. Or also a Marathi Sicilian. That's probably what it was. A Marathi Sicilian. So you look at James Canty is walking up on 3 minutes advantage. You got king in the center, you have divided on the of the board. Check for black. There is, the king is stuck in the center. There's actually 4 pawn islands for white. So the structure is bad. So I believe James is already winning this game. And from our top board, we have a National Master James Canty who's around 100. And then our board is Squat to Depth with mine. And he's around 2485, real USCF. But here, I believe he's around the same rating as we wait for his board to update as he plays chess for Adu. This is the 4th board for the Washington team, playing Mark Hyman with the black pieces. And I think Mark gets white in the last round, actually. He gets white against the Washington team's top player. So you want to have black in this game against the lowest player for sure, so you can try to get a black victory out of it. Shout out to everybody in the chat. What's going on, Jeff? Of course, shout out to Jeff who was putting this together. We are watching Mark Hyman, whose lead chess username is Squat to Depth, versus Chess for Adu. And that, I believe, is Advaith. What is his last name? Oh, his first name is Advaith. BJ is his last name. And you see that white still has a pretty strong position. Look at the 2 pawns in the center here. Pawn on e4 and d4. I would rather be white here. White is better in this position for sure. So I believe the young VJ is doing pretty well in this game so far against our top board, Mark Hyman. Now, the strategy, our captain actually said that it we're maybe if since we have two of the highest first and second boards in the States Cup, maybe we can count on them for 6 or 7 points. Now, if they can get 7 points, you're talking about a 3.5 for each, or one goes 4 and one goes 3 and 1, and one goes 4 and gets a sweep. 7 points is big. That means all you need is 1.5 points from out of 4 games or 8 games from the rest. So if James Canty and Mark Hyman could score 7 points, 1.5 would give the victory to Michigan. A tie, we would have to go to tiebreaks, I'm pretty sure. But 1.5 would give the victory to Michigan. That means all you need is 1.5 out of 8 from Tony Nichols and Ryan Wang. So those boards are very, very important. And this is team chess, guys. Shout out to everybody out there in the chat. Thanks for joining us here at the Michigan State Cup. I am your host, Brian Wilson. All right. I should say Michigan State Cup. I should say States Cup, but of course, I represent Michigan. I am super biased here. As we watch Squat to Death, he has almost a 6-minute lead over his opponent. White is being very, very careful to milk the space advantage. He wants to culture the space advantage in the center of the board. and it really does improving. White is doing a good job to improve the position, but that time could be a factor. So let's go down to Ryan Wiss, who had a pretty decent position and a time advantage against Thunder 0-4. Now, you know it would be a drastic thing for Thunder to allow Ryan Wiss to score. If we can get a 0.5 point from their first board, that strategically is better for the Michigan Monsters. Let alone a full point that, like the one that happened in the Virginia game, where Ryan Wang scored against the top board. So right now we see Ryan has a 3-minute lead here. He is milking a space advantage as well. And that is the biggest negative of going against a Kings Indian defense, is that White usually gets a space advantage. It's not the closed center type of position. I love this bishop that's on here on D4. It negates the power of the Kings Indian bishop that usually has a lot of power once the pawn on E5, or if there's no pawn on E5. So that bishop on D4 is very strong. Notice the weak light squares on black side of the board, like C6 and B5. That could be some potential homes for the knight. I can see the knight hopping to D4 at some point later in the game, probably after something like King H1. Right now, there's a stare down between these two rooks. There's a stare down between the two rooks there. And what he's thinking is, if he allows, okay, so there was the trade here. Ryan immediately takes that back. There's also a weak pawn here on A5 as well. There could be a potential E5 push at the right time. So I like Ryan's position here. I like Ryan's position here. Queen B6 doesn't quite work. It does attack the bishop on B2 and the king, but then you just simply play bishop to D4 and you go ahead and attack the queen there. He plays bishop A6. His plan is to play probably C3. So I'm wondering if you could play probably bishop back to D4, or play rook f2 right away. I don't like rook f2 because of knight to g4, so you're going to have to think about this. Maybe you play bishop c3. I like bishop c3 because it has a double attack on the a5 pawn for one. And then you're giving your knight to d4 square that you might want to use for c6, knight going into c6. So that is possible. So I like the bishop c3 move from Ryan, but Ryan has enough time. He has more than double the time of his opponent. Guys, I am so excited. This is the championship of the Michigan State Cup, the Michigan Monsters versus the Washington State chess team. Washington has three national masters, 1, 2, and 3 down the roster. Even their last board is rated over 2,000. So a very nice team. They stuffed the ballots. Guys. Their team rating is 2195. Definitely, I think it's the highest rated team we've played. We had like a 2197 at some point, I believe. But they are stuffing the ballot. But that's okay. Michigan, we are the champions of the East. You're talking about a conference or a division with New Jersey and New York and Pennsylvania, Maryland, all chess powerhouses with many grandmasters and much chess culture in these places. And Michigan was able to overcome that division, overcome our time zone. All right, let's go up a little bit to Tony Nichols with his Stonewall structure. And I think, actually, I'm sorry, the Stonewall structure was actually from Derek Zhang. So Tony Nichols is the one with the fianchetto structure here. And I'm not feeling Nichols' position here. He's getting hit with e4. Okay, no, I'm sorry. Maybe he can just play this move, knight to d4, threaten to take the bishop pair. So knight to d4 looks like a good move. It blocks the bishop's attack on b2. It puts the knight in the center, of course, and you're threatening this to grab the bishop pair here. And if there's one imbalance that Michigan Monsters have used over and over again in the games that I have seen, is the bishop pair for sure. See, there is a skewer right here. I wonder if we could play the move f3. I think we can. Oh, but then there's a... Wow. Oh, man, this is tough because after f3, there's actually a bishop to d4 check move. But you probably have to do that, but it looks like Tony's going to lose a pawn here, probably. Because after f3 and bishop takes d4 check, rook takes d4, then the take hits the bishop. We got to trade here. Looks like there's going to be a pawn loss. There's going to be a lost pawn here. There it goes. Oh, he did it a different way. Maybe he's going to go bishop takes d4 now. Wow. I thought Black had to do it a different way there. I don't actually like how Black did that. Black would have won the pawn, but I think that was the wrong way there. He takes the b2 pawn. But I guess he's looking at after rook b1. There is a bishop takes f3, but after bishop takes f3, you have rook takes b2. Oh no, I think Tony has a chance to regain his pawn here. Rook b1, bishop d4, check. Take that. So rook b1, bishop takes f3, rook takes b2. Should be able to get everything back. Now, I know there probably is going to be a rook that's going to appear on e2 after all of this. But you're going to have the bishop pair depending on if he is actually trying to save the b7 pawn, but this is okay for Tony, I believe. He's going to have some active pieces here. gonna be able to fight this out with correct play and probably score. Remember, these guys need, I would say they need about 5 points. Now, he plays bishop a3, threatening bishop c5 check. I don't know if the c5 check is a must here. Hey, I'm looking at taking this here. After I don't see any reason why I shouldn't take that. The check is not going to hurt me that bad. This knight is way on a6, so I believe he can just simply take on b7. And I'm not saying that white is better by far. No, I believe that white can equalize here. He was outplayed in the opening a little bit, but through all the liquidation, I believe that white can equalize. All right, so as time wanes for Tony Nichols, let's check the other games. GM Canty has won his game, so we have one win now. GM Canty, of course, had this game where the king was in the center. Look at this. These tactics just tell a big story here. Look at this. Wow, look at that here. So we get a win from GM Canty. So, guys, you know what that means. As I put us on the board, on our ticker sponsored by Michigan Chess Association. We have one win so far in that round. And every time we win, it's a tradition here for the Michigan Monsters that we give out our wolf howl or our ghost scream. Get a howl here. All right, good job, James, with a point on the board. It gives us confidence when we see one of our players get a point. Especially, if you're playing in the match and you have a point to you know exactly what you're going to need in your side. And Mark Hyman has also won his game. Looks like he was just up by too many pawns here and went to an endgame. Rook and pawn endgame, up a couple pawns here. And that's what happened in this game here. Let's go back to Ryan Wang here. It's getting down to the get down in this game. Ryan is down 2 pawns here. Plus a bishop pair is on the board. It's not looking the best. Let me say that. Not looking the best. As he plays the move d6. Plan is to be active. Of course, after take, you're probably going to get queen takes d6. Attacking the bishop on a6. But Ryan has got his work cut out for him here. But we do have 2 points on the board here, which means we are at least guaranteed a tie in this game, at least. A win by our top 2 boards. And let's get a goal scream for Mark Hyman. All right, congratulations, Mark Hyman, on the first round victory. And we are looking at Ryan Wang versus Thunder04, which is their top board here. Ryan is down 3 pawns here. He's wondering what to take back with here. Let's go to Tony Nichols game versus DZ. This game is a little closer. There's a 1 pawn advantage for DZ. Any score we can get in any of these games is a bonus, because I believe these two guys has to score. Now it was said they need 1.5. I will take 2.5 out of 8. Should get us the victory if these two players can score 2.5 out of 8 between them. As DZ is thinking here, notice that he's babysitting his pawn on b7, his backwards pawn. That could be a problem in this game of how to continue development, because this pawn is hamstringing the rook on e7, the bishop on c8. Somebody has to watch the pawn, so he's putting adequate pressure on that pawn. I would like to see him play c5 if he could, but he would have to, and I don't know how he would do that, to make a couple improvements. That's what he's looking for now. So he plays h3. I thought h3 could be a move. The bishop moves away. I wonder if you would trade the b7. Now, I don't think you should trade the b7, actually. Let me take that back. He does. He plays rook to b3. I like this one. I do. I like this move here. And then after rook to d7, he should play the move. Oh, he plays king to e2. Makes sense, because after bishop e4, you lose the h3 pawn. Let's go back to the game. Both these games are coming down to the wire. Ryan Wang, who pulled out some timely games the last time we seen him, right now it's just not looking so good right now. It's not. What about the move rook to c1? Okay, he chose not to do that. Rook c1 would have been, I guess he could have went to queen to d2. Maybe that is a reason why. Ah, look at this here. Already, this is a big problem. Ryan probably has to resign here. Already a big problem here. He can't keep the defense of the knight here. So it's already, that looks over there to Ryan. Now we're back to Tony Nichols. Tony Nichols is This Is Not Me, and he is down a minute in time. He's trying to hold this game. I would keep the pieces on the board, by the way. I would keep the pieces on the board. He doesn't. He allows the trade. Maybe this is okay. This could be okay here. Got to stay really, really active. How about bishop? Okay, he does trade here. Maybe a move like rook to b2. Maybe a move like rook b2. Or even rook c1. I don't know if I would get off of the b7 pawn, though. I would make his king have to go back to protect this b7 pawn. It's backwards here. So this going back and forth and asking him how is he going to make the position better. Move over the king. There you go. I like this. Move the king back. There you go. I like how he's playing this here. Move the rook back. I would have moved it up so there's no king incursion. There we go. On Ryan Wang again. He is okay. So Ryan did lose that game, so it is 2-1. And Washington team needs to win this in order to tie the first round. I believe we've had a really good record in the first round. Over a lot of, we've been really good in the starts. Now remember, guys, he just wants a draw here. That's all he needs here is a draw. He's down a pawn, rook and pawn in game. But that b7 pawn is the problem. So I think black is expecting to go king c7 so he can defend that pawn. But then you're going to have the move. So now you go back to the b file. Wow, okay. So he goes rook c4. Okay, now you have to play a move like rook to, so I don't, oh, okay. I see what he did there. I see what he did there, okay. He's going to bring the rook over there, and so this is, he's going to have to really stay active here. Playing moves like rook to c2. Oh, king f3 should be the move here. Okay, check first, makes sense. Now black has to watch it because white's king is very active here. Probably have to take this, right? Taking on h5. Oh, you get 2 pawns. Oh, no. There will be a pawn missing here. So you got to take on h5 here. All right. Now, we can't afford to trade off rooks here at all. So that's a no-no. Now, I don't know if I would have taken that because, yeah, I don't know if I would have taken that pawn there. Now, this is, with Greik technique, black is just winning this game, guys. And black should go ahead and win this, plus the time advantage is in Derek Zhang's hands. So black should win this without a problem. And then, oh, he missed the c5 push. Did miss that c5 push. Yeah, this is over, guys. Yep. And that is a tie. That is a tie. We tied with the Washington team in that first round. This is going to go down to the wire. Of course, this is the championship of the States Cup. And I'm going to correct the scoreboard and give our opponents the correct credit for their wins. And bam. Michigan Monsters 2, the Washington State Chess Team 2. As we get ready for our next round, as the boards probably will update soon. They are not playing just yet. Remember, this is brought to you by Michigan Chess Association. Shout out to Jeff Aldrich, who is the team captain, and also our State Chess Association president. Also, got to shout out LeeChess.org. This is the platform that we are using to play our games. So got to shout out LeeChess.org. Games are updating right now. I'm looking at Squat to Death. So our 2 top chess players won their games. And their 2 top chess players won their games. So there you have it. All right, we're watching Squat to Death update here against War Oatmeal. That with the I don't know. Let's go to GM Canty here. Okay. He has not started just yet. This is not me. Is Tony Nichols just finished his game versus Derek Zhang? Doesn't look like they have started yet either. And Ryan Wang, the top 100 Michigan Whiz Kid, they have not started yet. But warm oatmeal. Oh, wants warm oatmeal. I guess warm oatmeal is okay. Now I'm thinking about it. Cold oatmeal is what? Cereal, right? All right, so we have this Verisoft type of a setup here from Mark Hyman. Or actually, this is looking like a Jabava attack, right? With the knight c3 and a bishop. That's usually on bishop on b4. Maybe it's a Trompowski. Sometimes Mark Hyman will pull out a what I would call a development opening, just a playable opening, and try to get to the middle game and end game. Mark Hyman's in-game skills are very, very good. So he just wants to take out the theory from the game and be able to play a playable position and just go mind for mind. So right now, I think this is in the early stages here. Both players have developed pretty well. Mark Hyman might be looking to castle queenside and try to open up the center because Black's development is a little bit slower. And this is probably one of the main reasons F3 is played, so he can play the move 4. This is a typical Verisoft type of move order. And then there's the E4 move. And you have these two nice pawns in the center. I'm loving White's position here. All right, let's go to the second board here. Still doesn't have the games up. What I do, I'll refresh. Oh no, they're still not playing. I see Ryan Wang. He's now starting his game. Hopefully everybody out there is being safe here. Mind the COVID-19 guidelines and be safe. The best thing we could do during COVID is just sit at home and play chess. Hopefully everybody is not I know it's probably affecting everybody's bottom line as far as work, but hopefully things will be back normal as long as everyone keep the social distancing guidelines. Wear a mask. Come on, guys, wear a mask. Then we can get these numbers down. And when there's finally a trusted vaccine available, then this is going to be all a thing of the past. But as far as chess is concerned, we are definitely okay with playing online at home. I mean, I have not streamed as much as this in my life. So I have the time to do that now. We are watching Ryan Wang versus DZ. This is Derek Zhang, who is the second board from the Washington team. And look at what Ryan is doing. This pawn structure is weird here. Hopefully there's no problems with this diagonal here. This light diagonal could be a devastating diagonal, especially if you're down in development. Already, Derek Zhang has put this bishop on this long diagonal. He's threatening to go bishop to G8 if he wants to. Then the king, I believe, is going to be maybe stuck in the center, because there doesn't look like a safe place that you can castle to without the center being blasted open. I don't necessarily like the way Ryan played this opening here. Actually, what opening was this? How did this start? Okay, this a ready with ready. And this is where we are now. And now Ryan is thinking here, his light squares, this diagonal, bishop on this diagonal is going to be a very important piece. I'm wondering if he can actually go like knight to h6, and then maybe a move like queen. Yeah, knight to h6 probably. Knight to h6, and then thinking about if he should take here or not on b4 and just allow the trade here. I am not exactly sure. I'm also wondering if white is even thinking about taking on e5. That might be something that Ryan Wang is thinking about as well. With the queen coming to h5 after bishop takes g8, you know, bishop takes g8, rook takes, and the knight takes a5. I mean, it could be a lot of things here because of the opening of these diagonals, the h2 g8 diagonal and the h5 e8 diagonal. These diagonals on the light squares are crucial. There's a queen b3 threat. There's a lot of threats here that Ryan has to look at. So I don't necessarily like his position. Let's look at Thunder 04 is the top board from the Washington team. It's funny because Thunder 04 has a Lichess rating of 2351 in quick chess, while Derek Zhang, who is a little bit lower rated over the board, has a 2572 rating in quick chess. So it might be the second board might be actually the better player online. He's actually the highest player in quick chess of both teams. So we got to watch out for Derek Zhang, maybe more than Thunder 04. But anyway, Thunder 04 right now is it's an opposite side castling position. Looks like, was this the closest? Let's take a look at what this was. Okay, this was a Russian defense here with knight c3. Got it. Otherwise called the Petrov. And this is not me. Played the Petrov here. And look like how fast Tony Nichols, who is This Is Not Me, was playing. Looks like he might be a little booked up on this line. As Thunder 04 goes into a think. Warm oatmeal here. Let's update this against GM Canty. GM Canty had a quick first round knockout. The guy didn't get castle, and if you keep your king in the center against GM Canty, it's a problem. Because GM Canty, James Canty the third, shout out to his two sons. One just had a birthday, I believe. If you leave your king in the center, James Canty is going to attack you. James Canty will attack bunny rabbits. So always have to watch out there. Right now, he's playing the lowest board from the Washington team here. And GM Canty is doing, it's an isolated queen pawn position. And for those of you who are learning, getting better, isolated pawn positions are playable, but there is specific plans going against an isolated pawn. The plan when you are facing an isolated pawn is to trade off all the minor pieces. because the pawn gives your opponent more space for his pieces, activity for his pieces. That's what that pawn does. So if you trade off all knights and bishops, the pawn becomes weaker. Then what you want to do is keep at least one rook and the queen on the board. Why do you want to keep the queen on the board? Because it stops the opponent's king from coming in to try to defend the isolated pawn once you pile rook and queen on the open file where the isolated pawn exists. Now, that's your plan when you're going against the isolated pawn, and you want to control the square in front of the isolated pawn as well. That's the third step. And then once you control that square in front of the isolated pawn, keeping the queen and rook on the board, then you take the friendly neighbor pawn and attack the isolated pawn. And then there you go. You have just won an isolated pawn. Now, if you're the one that owns a pawn, you want to keep extreme activity. Just like James Canty has just done here, he played d5 because the pawn doesn't have to stay on d4. And that pawn gives your pieces better squares to move to. You want to use that. You want to have your pieces very active, so that when your opponent would never have a chance to aim his rook and queen at the pawn. If you keep activity, targets, there's a weakness over here. Also, in a lot of positions, that pawn actually enables, since you got active pieces, there's a lot of successful king side attacks, castled king attacks because of a isolated pawn. Now, one of the best examples, of course, going against an isolated pawn and owning an isolated pawn is the legendary match between Anatoly Karpov and Garry Kasparov. All of those matches featured some isolated pawns because Kasparov was a big proponent of the Tarrasch defense, where you purposely give yourself an isolated pawn as black. So that's what's going on in this game. Chess for Adu, who is at Vife for the Washington chess team, is playing James Canty with the white pieces. And you see there's a nice d5 pawn there, attacking the queen. So now he's trying to figure out where he's going to put this queen. That opened up the d4 square for one of White's pieces if he needs to put a piece there. There's going to be probably a backwards e7 pawn on the board as well. So there's going to be some targets for GM Canty. Just for Adu chooses to play queen g4. And there's also a development problem for black as well. Look, notice the bishop on c8 and the knight on b8. It hasn't developed. This knight on b8 is going to have a really hard time because the pawn on d5 prevents that. And this queen here is running out of squares, actually. So this queen on g4 is running out of squares. I don't know if we really want to play h3, but that queen is not in a good position. And so James Canty, I believe, is better in this position. I wouldn't say winning, but is definitely better in this position here. Right. Next game, Mark Hyman versus Warm Oatmeal National Master. That is Rushan. I think his name Rushan. Yeah, Rushan. And you see there's a big grading difference here. I like Mark Hyman's position with the white pieces. He has these two, the big pawn center. This is the things you always want to get when you have the white pieces. Being able to have two pawns in the center to control squares, controlling the game, putting your pieces on better squares while your opponent's pieces a lot of times can become cramped. Now what black has to do is try to attack that space. Whether it's a pawn break of f5, which is impossible now because you lose a pawn, or a pawn break with c5 here. Those are pawn breaks that black should be looking to use. Now, black does have an imbalance that he can use in his favor, and that is the bishop pair. Mark Hyman is in a think now, down 2 minutes in this position. So Mark is being very careful, but the two bishops can become a big problem for white in this position. Despite white having the worst pawn structure, you see the doubled f pawns here. Even though black has an extra open file to use for the rook, that's the positives of having the double pawns. At this point, we don't know if the positives can outweigh the negatives because these double pawns give the f5 square is weak, I can see a knight going to f5 here. I really like white's position in this game here. So back to Derek Zane versus Ryan Wang, and this was the game where we thought that his light squares around his king is going to be a problem. I will say I feel much better that the queens are not in the game here. And now I'm looking at Ryan and I'm saying, okay, white does have the bishop pair, so I will say that the bishop pair is there for white, and black's bishop on e7 is not good, and a knight on h6 is not good. But you know, there is going to be some trades on the d file, and the more trades that come off, I'm thinking, hey, maybe Ryan, especially with his time advantage, can come up with a way to equalize. We got to figure out a pathway for this bishop on e7 to get into the game somehow. So he does play bishop to b2, so he definitely wants to use these two bishops on these long diagonals, so Ryan has to watch out for that as he looks for a home for his pieces. I do see the knight going to e4 and d6, so that's also a big point. And Ryan's king is in the center, and it's kind of stuck in the center here, which means he can't all right, sorry guys, I didn't have my plug in there. But Ryan's king in the center, he can't connect the rooks with his king in the center like that, so that can become a problem. Shout out to everybody that's out there in the chat that's watching the Michigan State Cup, or the States Cup final, featuring Michigan Monsters versus the Washington chess team. Ryan goes knight to f5, and I think it's kind of strange that Derek moves very fast with king f1. He really wants to get his king to the center of the board here. And Ryan actually did a pretty good job with knight f5, because knight e4 and knight d6 is met with knight f5. And if you push this knight off, you're going to give him the d4 square. But still, we have to figure out a way to get our king in the game. We have to figure out a way to do this. And I don't know how we are going to do that. So Ryan has something to figure out in that game. Right. Thunder of 4 versus This Is Not Me. This Is Not Me has a gigantic time advantage, by the way. And wow, look at this here. It looks like Tony Nichols kind of prepared this here. Where is this bishop going? So after bishop takes, there's going to be a big pin here on the d file. And I guess he could play c4, so maybe that's what he's planning on doing. But if he ever goes like bishop b3, there's a fork on c4. Oh, so he chooses, oh wow, so he did all this. He has the bishop pair now. So Tony decides to sacrifice material just to gain these bishops. And guess what? I like it. I like it. Look at the lines that he has with these two bishops, this queen and rook battery. He has a lot of compensation for that pawn. This knight on f3 is not quick to get back into the game. And so I love what Tony Nichols just did there. And especially being up almost 6 minutes in time. That was a beautiful move, Mr. Nichols. That's what I like to call him, Mr. Nichols, because he's been chess coaching for a long time and he deserves his respect, especially when I see Mr. Nichols play a move like that. I love that move. A lot of compensation for that pawn there. But how does he culture this attack here? That's what I'm interested in. How does he improve, kind of prove the attack. Does he play c4 and then allow c3? I don't know if he does that. Or does he go ahead on and play bishop to f6? Bishop f6 could be an option here. And you're threatening the b2 pawn twice. Hey, it's okay to play Sesame Street chess, guys. Just attack something more than it's protected. Sesame Street chess is 2 defenders, attack it 3 times. Maybe you force a weakness out of the situation. For instance, after bishop f6, if you play something ridiculous like c3, then you have g6 threatening bishop f5, pinning the queen to the king. Actually, c3 doesn't even work because you're going to simply take on c3. So that doesn't work either. Tony is using, and I like that he's using his extra time. What good is it to have extra time if you're moving fast? So he's using his extra time to see just how he's going to culture this attack on opposite side castling. The opposite side castling, it's more important to have open lines to the king than it is to keep material. So I really love what Tony Nichols, Mr. Nichols, did there. All right. We're looking at James Canty, who has a 6-minute lead over his opponent. And I like this position. Of course, James, with this queen b3 move, is making the bishop on c8 babysit b7. He has this strong control over the center. He's threatening the move rook to h4. And I'm sorry, guys, but okay. So after rook h4, I see the queen will take on d5. So he gives that up. Now, anytime I see James give something up, see how quickly White took that? I'm always weary about, like what James is planning, because when you give him time to think, the tactics are going to be a problem. So he only has this a5 square to go to. He doesn't have any other square. An f5. He has, okay, there he goes. He has c6 here. So what was James planning here? Shout out to everybody out there that joined us in the chat. Make sure you follow this channel, subscribe, like, share, tell your friends. Michigan Chess Association plus michess.org is where you can find all the information about upcoming tournaments once we get out of the COVID-19 guidelines. We will have those tournaments posted there for you. But we also have online tournaments that's posted on michess.org. Plus, you can see the YouTube videos on Michigan Chess Association on the michess.org site. You get to see moi streaming the State Cup and some other things. Michigan Junior Arena that was sponsored by Michigan Chess Association as well. That is a tournament, a league for children. So we're doing big things for Michigan Chess Association here in the state of Michigan when it comes to our game. Also, you can find us on Twitter. And Facebook is very, very active. Michigan Chess Association Facebook group. You can find it. Actually, on Facebook, it is the real MCA Facebook page. So make sure you guys type that in. We see in Chess for Adu, his time is ticking down as James Canty is just controlling the center. He has active pieces here. They're right in the center. Now, I will say that James is in danger of this rook being kind of offsides. But Chess for Adu is not helping himself with this, with his time. It's going to be a problem. So let's go to our top player here. Squat to death is Mark Hyman. And move arrows. And what do we have here? We have a backward f6 pawn. Mark is the material is even here. Now I do like white. I do like white here more than black in this position. Basically putting a lot of pressure here. How does he defend that again? He chooses He chooses to go. I wonder, is there any type of sacrifice that could come here? Maybe not. Oh, he does. He goes knight to d6 here. Which, okay, so after bishop takes f1, there's a knight takes e8 check first. Big key. And then I am guessing that after, oh, so he actually does take on f1. And we're back into an endgame where it's a bishop and rook versus a knight and rook. And usually when there's pawns on both sides, the bishop is a little better than the knight. Especially when there's these weak light squares that the bishop can just sit on here. I would definitely stop any entry squares for black's rook. And I wonder, and there's also a 4 versus 3 majority on the queen side here. Now you see black is getting prepared to play knight to d5. Try to make this knight a little bit better. Then rook to f2. Maybe he's planning on going rook to e2. I wonder what would happen after rook to e3. Maybe he's okay. But warm oatmeal has a time advantage, guys. So that's over a minute there. So we're getting down to the get down. Hey, what's going on, Adam? Shout out to Adam that's been with us every time we have streamed. He is a loyal watcher. Here we're seeing Ryan Wang here in this strange pawn structure game with the bishop here versus Derek Zhang. Their actual highest rated player on Lichess is Derek Zhang. I am very concerned about Ryan's game because there is 2 connected passed pawns here plus the bishop pair. My bishop on e7 doesn't look that great. So I believe Ryan is probably losing this game here. For sure. I think he's probably losing this game. Now I wonder, I do see this tactic here. If rook takes d7, isn't there a bishop takes c5? Now I will say he does have rook to f7 check, and then maybe we're gonna have to go king e8, and he gets the d7 pawn. So maybe it wasn't good enough. But you see Derek Zhang immediately moved that bishop off of b2. So I think Derek actually thought that must have been something. All right, this is not me. This is Mr. Nichols, Tony Nichols. And remember, he had that great position with the bishop here. He still does. He did not want to. Now, he was just on b4. He did not want to trade here, which makes some sense. He wants to keep the pressure on his opponent instead of trading and getting his pawn back. He thinks having those bishops is more important. Actually, he would probably still lose the c5 pawn. And he is putting the screws on his b2 pawn. And look at the time from Thunder 04. Now, remember, this is their top board, guys. This is their top board. Now, I like to move bishop here to d4. Bishop d4 here. I like that move. Because what you're threatening here is bishop takes c4 after that. And it could be some sacrifices on b3. So bishop d4 here. Instead, he plays rook d8. That makes sense too. That way he can play rook d4. Now I'm guessing he's going to play queen c3, but then bishop to d4 will come. So queen e3 is not good. So this is going to... Okay, so he double attacks the c5 pawn. Wow. Now he plays bishop d4. So he gives up the bishop pair here. Mainly because after bishop takes d4, there's a rook takes d4. Now we're going to go to Grandmaster James King here, see if there's any. He is up a bunch of time here. So we're going to go to Mark Hyman. I'm going to go from game to game, guys. Hey, what's going on, Cole Yeti? I appreciate you. All right. Thanks for watching, Cole Yeti. All right. Warm oatmeal versus squat to depth here. This is a end game, pretty even here. We're going to go down the line here. James Canty has a big lead here, but I say the position is James Canty is down a pawn, but he's up by so much time. Look at Thunder 04. He's down 15 seconds here. Now, in these games, you get 2 seconds every time you move. And here, I'm just looking at, oh, so he made a great move, bishop to f4. I'm wondering, is it possible for me to do this anyway? Do I not care about the exchange? He could sacrifice the exchange, but why do that? Why not just, maybe we can just, hey, rook to b7. Why not? Maybe we can just play rook to b7. Or we can play rook c8. I really like Tony's position here. I really do. So he does play rook c8. Now the threat is bishop takes c4. Thunder has 8 seconds left. 5 seconds left. 4. Oh, he plays f3. Now you have bishop takes c4 on the docket. Tony does it. Now I know he wants to get to these light squares here. I wonder what happens after the move bishop to d5. There it goes. Bishop d5. Look at those strong bishops. That's been the case in almost all of the games of the Michigan Monsters. Look at bishop e6. Keeping the position open. We play c4 here. Or maybe we shouldn't rush it. I would look at playing something like, oh, he does play c4. Wow. And what did he do there? He only has 3 seconds left. We can literally play rook takes, which he does. And we probably have to play rook takes here, right? So rook takes e4. Probably the best move. Or could we play on g3? See, Tony has so much time, he could do a lot here. Just double checking again. Ryan Wang. DZ has won that game. So we are down 1 game. Tony Nichols is playing here. Check it right quick with James Canty. He is up a bunch of time here, still playing. And then Squat to Depth is up a bunch of time here too. Even material, bishop, and knight in game. So the exchanges do happen here. Mr. Nichols is using his time here, 2-minute time advantage. I thought maybe he would have went to the oh, can't do that. So he calls a check here. Oh, and he pushes a pass pawn. I thought maybe he would have traded and went to the 7th rank with the 2 bishops. Now he's threatening the rook. Yeah, he was threatening the rook to e8. And there it goes. Tony is thinking here. And the strange thing is Tony is up exchange for a bishop and a pawn, or knight and a pawn. But Thunder 04 is hanging in there. He's hanging in there. This will be big if he can possibly save this, because white does have 2 passed pawns. You got to watch that. So see how fast he moved, knowing that the bishop could be coming there. And he's just chasing this bishop around. Bishop is running out of square. Now I don't think you want to play. Oh, he plays f6 here. Wow. And maybe h5? Or do you want to even open that up? Might not want to open that up. But you want to keep the bishop on this diagonal, protecting your c2 pawn, which is very important. Whoa, he gives up c2 pawn. I don't know if I like that. That c2 pawn was giving white hell. 8 seconds left. Goes bishop e4, probably f5. There it goes. Hits the bishop here. There's bound to be a mistake, guys. Y'all gotta do is be patient and wait for it. Let's play this move g5 and activate our rook. Okay. Now we have to watch these pass pawns here. You got to watch those passers. Oh, look at that move. Now he wins the knight. He's attacking the bishop on c3. Make sure these pass pawns cannot unify. I feel so much better if Tony can get rid of those passers there. And you got to watch this pawn as well, guys. You got to watch that pawn too. That pawn could be a problem. He's threatening rook h4 and rook to h8. So Tony's seen that. Okay, so he does attack that pawn there. Now, how about rook to e6 here? There you go. And Tony is trying his best here. Probably bring the rook up there. Rook up. That's a nice move there. Brings the bishop out. Now Tony's time is... Oh, no. You're going to have to bring that rook back, guys. You got to bring the rook back because you're going to get checked. What happened there? He has bishop takes. He just gives up the rook here. Oh, now this would be a heck of a comeback. Down in time here. And Tony is going to go for a draw here. It's going to be a draw. Wow. Literally a win game here by Tony Nichols. And this game is going to become a draw, guys. Wow. Unbelievable comeback. That might be an important game in this match. Tony could have played the rook back and cover all the light squares. When you're dealing with a pass pawn, as long as you cover all the light squares and the other person has a dark square bishop, you could cover that. But I know Tony was down in time. It's hard to find those moves when it's pressure. That's a draw in that game. We lose the game with Derek Zhang and Ryan Wang. James Canty happened. Oh, no. Oh, James Canty loses his game. Oh, wow. He loses his game. So that might do it for us. Whoa. And we lose the game against Warm Oatmeal too. Wow. This might be the worst round that we have ever had. So we lose. Our first two boards lose the game. Mark Hyman, James Canty. This is not me. Did we get a draw? We got a draw there. So we lose that round 3.5 to 1/2. Oh my goodness. We're not even used to this. That was a terrible round. Usually we end terrible, but that round was the worst round we've ever had, guys. We've ever had. Now, we had another round in the last round against New Jersey where it's 3.5 to a half, but that gave them a tie and we went on to win. That round was not good for us. Oh, wow. So, I have to adjust the score. And our opponents have 5.5. And we got a half point in that round. Washington got 3.5. That is tough. We're going to need 2 final rounds for the ages. That is a tough round for us. But we can do it. This is a new position because we have never had to really come from behind. A deficit of 3 games here. We are down. 3 games is a pretty significant deficit that we're going to have to come back from. Yep, 5.5 to 2.5. But we're down. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We are waiting for the games to update. Oh no, what a bad round for the Monsters there. Oh no. Guys, you have to, guys in the chat, you gotta talk me off the ledge. Off the ledge. Wow. Had a it shows why the Washington team is in the championship. You see a game that we literally had a clear win, which would have made it 3-1 with this Tony Nichols versus their top board, and he was able to come back in those games. The GM Canty game, and you talk about games where we had a big time advantage in all those games, and our opponents were able to make only moves. And GM Canty plays the C3 Sicilian better than anyone. Had a development lead, big time advantage. But wonder if that rook got too far out of play. This rook on h4. I don't know what it's doing there right now. Came back into the center here. And it's just the bishop pair. Something that GM Canty. Now, GM Canty had a chance to. I think he could have done that. He had a chance to get rid of that bishop pair by playing knight takes c6. He does it that way. Whoa, what was that? Okay, I see. And he went to an endgame. And this should be just a drawn endgame. It should be just a draw. And I don't know how he loses this game. This is just a clear drawn endgame. Did he just blunder the rook? Oh, he just blundered the rook here. Oh my goodness. Oh, that hurts. That hurts. That hurts. That hurts. All right. Forget about that round. We are down 3 points. We're gonna score those 3 points in these next couple rounds. And what hurts the most is that this was some rounds where we're not supposed to have this type of result. We had some lower board score on our top boards. And I will say their team is more diverse, so you can switch any one of their top 3, number 1. But to have the lowest player score against our number 2 board. That is a problem. That hurt. But I have faith in this lineup. This is our best lineup of the year. That's right, Adam. Michigan knows comebacks for sure. And I have faith in this lineup. Ryan Wang was the best 4th board all year. Tony Nichols has a winning record playing from 2nd board to 3rd board all season. And James Canty and Mark Hyman's records speak for themselves. So I have faith in this team that they're going to play good chess. Hopefully they can regroup and play better chess from here on out. Now, Squat to Death is playing actually the highest rated player. Almost 100-point difference here. Derek Zhang is really good online. And we get an isolated queen pawn position with isolated d pawn. I don't know if he wants to trade there. Instead, what did he? Oh, wow. That is an excellent move by Mark Hyman. Because if he takes d4, there is a bishop takes e2 move, by the way. And of course, you can play bishop takes g4, but then he has bishop takes b2. That was an excellent move, and that looks like a big blunder by Derek Zhang. And that could hurt. You talking about a game where the opening has just started, and Derek Zhang could be down a piece here. How does he? What is the best way for him to act? To make up for that? A knight that was just taken. I can't see a way, because you just can't allow bishop takes b2. So already we look like we might be winning on the 1st board. Mark Hyman has come back with authority. Wouldn't it be great if we got a sweep in this round? It would be so good. So good. All right. We go to James Canty, who's playing his next game. Let's make sure we get a refresh here. They're not playing just yet. So let's go to Mr. Nichols. This is not me, as his board refreshes. And it's good to see Tony Nichols back to his Stonewall structure. A couple of games I didn't see him with the Stonewall structure. Hey, Mr. Nichols, stick with what you know. That's what got you here. You got it. I believe he had an 8-3 record coming in. So, hey, I like to see the Stonewall structure here. He knows it. He's comfortable with it. Let's ride this out, Mr. Nichols. All right, Ryan Wang versus National Master Warm Oatmeal. We need some scores, Ryan. Actually, we might need more than you were supposed to have. I said 2.5 is something I was hoping the lower 2 boards would get. Now I think we might need 3 out of the 8. 3 out of the 8. Or 3.5 out of the 8. All right, we see Ryan Wang with the white pieces here. He has this good grip on the e5 square, I will say that. And I like Ryan's position. You see double pawns here. King is still in the center. Ryan, you have to look for ways to open this position if you can. Now, I don't see a way to open a position at this moment. But we should strive to find it. He does play rook e1, so that makes sense. So the plan is to put pressure on the e6 square. And that's going to be hard pressure to deal with, by the way. Very hard. So I see Black has it. Yep, he traded the bishop for the knight here to take away some of that pressure. And I know he wants to look for he wants to keep this pawn on e6 here as white. That pawn on his open file, that should be a permanent problem. That should be a permanent problem. I'm wondering how he's gonna keep the pressure on that square. He's figuring that out now, but I like white in this position. Let's go GM Canty and update his game here. I know GM Canty, after blundering a rook here, which hurts, that is a full point, guys. I know he's gonna come out with a vengeance. And here we go. GM Canty has played the move h5 in the Sicilian, and let me tell you, he is really good at playing this. Now, let's see the preparation from Thunder 04. Did he look at GM Canty's games in this line of the Sicilian and prep for that? It seems like he did not prep for it, because look how quickly GM Canty moved, because he already knows what to expect here. This doesn't look good at all. GM Canty is very prepped in this line, and it looks like he might have caught a fish with how quickly he's moving in preparation. All right, let's go to, we looked at Tony, let's go to Zhang and Mark Hyman. Was there a piece? There was a piece. So right now, white is down a whole knight here. Wow. Mark Hyman is up a piece. So already the third round is looking good so far. All we have to do is keep it together. But up until this point, it looks good. Look at the nice knight on f4, covering all the good squares. We can easily g5, so there's nothing wrong with that. King f7, getting your king. Oh, he's gonna actually play b4. I was also thinking about that as well. Solidifying the knight on the c4 square and maybe being able to play the move d5. But white meets b5 with b4 himself. This is a really good position from Mark. I think white will actually go on. He's winning just up a clear piece. Let's go to Ryan Wang versus Warm Oatmeal. Shout out to everybody out there watching us live on Michigan Chess Association YouTube channel. Ryan Wang is holding this backwards, these two weak double pawns on this open file. I like how he's playing here. I like this bishop in the center of the board. Queen a5, there's really no attack on this side, but I guess he planned to get counterplay. His plan is b5 and b4 somehow. Also, I think he actually wants to stop knight a4 and knight c5, which will put more pressure on e6. I wonder if Ryan is entertaining the a3, h3, and g4 move order. He did. He plays h3 and g4. So there's the move. But hey, I think we can still play g4. If you take en passant, we take that there, and you're just gonna have to be dealing with this pawn, these weak pawns in the center of the board for a long time. I think we can actually take that. Now, I will say this knight can improve itself, right? So we can go knight to e2. He chooses to go knight to e3. I thought maybe knight e2 and knight to f4 would be something that he might want to look at. But he's going knight e3 just to get rid of the knight on... Or maybe his biggest plan is actually to play knight to g4. Could be. And putting this knight on e5. But I guess it's okay to get rid of this knight. There's gonna be a e7 pawn that's gonna be there for the taking as well. There goes knight e3. We're watching Ryan Wing versus Warm Oatmeal. I like Ryan's game here with white. This is not me. This is Tony Nichols playing his Stonewall structure. He has the F5 push in. There looks to be an incursion from black. The double attack on the e4 pawn plus the attack on the knight. And if this pawn on e4 goes, his position is going to crumble a bit. So I don't know how he's going to get away. I think what he's looking at is how he can trap this queen. He could play knight to g5. Knight on c drop. So I don't know how he's gonna save this e4 pawn here. He's gonna have to look for some type of compensation for it first. So he does. He takes on g6 first. And he actually gives up the knight on c2. What does he have here? He's saying, I'll give you the knight. I'm going to bring the king to f7. Maybe there's a knight g5 check coming. or some type of pin. But he's sacrificing a piece here. This is very interesting. Tony Nichols is going for a sacrifice here. Right now, this Chess4 Adu, who is their lower rated player, has a 2286 quick rating. So their team is so balanced from top to bottom. Let's look at Thunder 04, the top board, but like I said, their team is balanced. James Canty has a big time advantage again, as long as he doesn't blunder a rook. But he does have the pair of bishops, and James Canty is very handy with the pair of bishops. And also, he's very handy with the double pawn structure as well. So I definitely like how he handles himself when it comes to the bishop pair. He plays king e7, brings the king to the center of the board. His main problem with black is, where does he develop the bishop? I believe he can simply put this bishop on b7. But I think maybe the move right now, James is actually threatening to play h4, and that could be annoying for white. Now the rooks for black is not connected yet, so I don't think h4 will be that effective right now. But here we go again. Jim Canty has a big lead in time, more than half the time of Thunder 04. Hopefully that's a factor for the Monsters. Now, Derek Zane versus Mark Hyman. My boy Mark. What do we have here? Mark was up a piece. Someone with the class of Mark Hyman. FIDE master, up a piece. You might as well cancel Christmas. And Mark was able to use a tactic to win that piece in the beginning. And a win against their top player, because in my opinion, Derek Zhang is their top player, even though he plays the second board. He is their top player, rated 2572 Lichess rating, because we are playing on Lichess, right? Lichess rating, which makes him their best player. Mark leaves the post on f4. You see he has two passed pawns, d4 and a5. That's good. And those two passed pawns, guess what? They're extra pawns. So Mark has a knight and two extra pawns against Derek Zhang. I expect to move rook b7. Just kicking that rook out of there. He does the other rook. Why did he do that to rook? Oh, okay. Ah, I see. So he actually wants to get behind the pawn so he can push it. Makes a lot of sense. So here, look at Mark push this pawn here. Can we go check and then knight to d6? Is that even good? Or should we keep pushing? Ah, Mark, let's push this. Correct. Why do we have to stop pushing? Let's keep pushing. You take the knight, we take the rook. If Sarah had 2 pieces of cake and Jimmy had 3, and they both ate 2 pieces of cake, it's simple Sesame Street math. In chess, I have an extra piece. You take a piece, I take a piece. You take a piece, I take a piece. I got 1 piece left. You have 0. I got a piece and a couple pawns. I'm a queen of pawn. Win the game. Don't have to go through the front door. I can go through the back door, even though it's the longer way. As long as it's a win, it doesn't matter. A win is a win. And Mark knows that. And so he knows that giving up the rook for a pawn, giving up the knight for a rook is something he would like to do. So here he's choosing to push it again. He's going to make the rook inactive on a1, or he's just going to have to give up the rook right now. So this is what we call technique. Let's go down. Win. Oh no, he closed the open file here. Oh, that hurts. There was this backwards pawn here where his rook was putting maximum pressure on the position, and the file is closed now. Guys, that hurt. Now he does have a pass pawn here, and there is a weak h4 pawn. So maybe that's why he did it. He thought he could put some pressure on a weak h4 pawn and maybe create a connected pass pawn on the on the king side there. So maybe that's his reasoning. I'm not sure. But I gotta give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't believe this pawn here on e5 can be touched. So he does play queen d4. I like this move because it attacks h4 and it protects the e5 pawn. So I still like Ryan's position. Here, but there he has to watch it. This bishop on d2 is an important, because there's some two important pawns on g5 and e5. But if he's able to put enough adequate pressure on the h4 pawn, which I'm actually kind of believing that pawn is gone, because after the move rook h4, after rook h8 and rook h4, that pawn is gonna go. I know he has c5, and then you play something like queen to f2. If knight taken, you have the pin, so that doesn't work. Bishop to, maybe it does. You'll just go back to queen e2, and then you're gonna get the e6 pawn, so that doesn't work. I believe this h4 pawn is in peril. Brian Fleischman, hey, what's up? Oh, Brian, okay. What's going on, Brian, man? I enjoyed our stream together when we played Ohio. Of course, we have the natural homegrown rivalry with the Ohio teams because of the football prowess between Ohio State Buckeyes and the Michigan Wolverines. And we did in our division matchup, we did a stream together. So shout out to my boy Brian from Ohio. Hopefully when things get back to normal, we got you guys, we can hook up. I think he was over there close to Dayton. I believe, Brian, you were close to Dayton. We need to hook up, man, and play some chess, you know. When things get back to normal, or more normal than it is now, we need to hook up and get together, man. Because the good thing about having this type of tournament or this league play is you make new friends out there in the chess world. And you know how we get down in the chess world. We're such a small community. You know, and people don't understand us. I know, Brian. We got to run it back. Brian wants a rematch. Yeah, but the Ohio team, man, shout out to those guys in Ohio showing their support for us here, representing the East Division in the Michigan State Cup now. As we look at Ryan Wang playing Warm Oatmeal, I like what Ryan is doing. He has 2 pass pawns, guys. I like it. They beat us 3.5 to a half last time. I'm not mad at our positions here. Now, I will say probably the worst of those positions is This Is Not Me, even though he has almost a 2-minute advantage here. White is up a pawn. I will say that. White is up a pawn. And I actually like this open file that he has as well. Look at the move here. Bishop to h3. Stopping knight g4. Threatening moves like bishop to e6 check. That is something. Because there's a queen takes b4 move here, by the way. There is a queen to b4 move. b4. I guess queen takes b4, you have bishop d2. So I guess that's okay. Then maybe like queen to c5 and rook to c1. So I guess that's what he figured there. He has a 2-minute advantage over Chess Adu. So I'm liking Tony's. Oh, there was a move where knight to d4 was played, stopping bishop e6. But was that Tony Nichols' point? There's a knight c2 fork threaten here. I know, man. Chess community is the best community, B. That's a slogan, bro. Chess community is the best community. I like that. What I don't like is this knight that is in the center of the board. With Tony Nichols here, even though he has this 2-minute time advantage. There's a threat of knight c2. I guess knight c2 you can answer with queen d1 with the pin of the knight to the queen. But I don't know if I like that. Shout out to everybody watching us here in the Michigan Chess Association YouTube channel. You guys see he plays bishop to b2. Now, how quickly is he going to try? Would he try to play this move? I don't think so, because queen d1 just wins. I don't believe that was a threat at all. We can play h6. All right, B. Have a good night, brother. h6 looks like a good. h6 looks like a good move here for black, but Chess Adu is down a little bit more than a minute. Let's go to the next game. Thunder 04 versus GM Canty. GM Canty has a massive time advantage. I would say Thunder 04, even though he escaped against Tony Nichols, and that might be the key game to decide this match. But he has a severe time trouble problem in this match today. But we've seen accurate moves from Thunder 04 in limited time. Excellent moves with limited time. He has 1 minute and 26 seconds left. This is a bishop versus knight, and you see there is some pawn structure weaknesses, but this bishop that's on e5 is holding everything together. I'm kind of wondering, is it okay for us to play the move rook to h5? Now, I know we do not want a rook coming on this file because you notice the king is stuck here. So maybe that's not something we actually want to do. Maybe we do not want to go rook h5. We need this king to go to a better square somehow. It's hard for me to tell you what it's going to be. Maybe just rook h2. And just kick the ball, punt the ball to your opponent and say, what are you going to do here? Now, I do not know what this rook on b7 is doing. So I think James is going to have to really think about his planning going forward of where his rooks are going to be. Because this knight here is very strong. And that knight is the beginning of mating nets. So you have to really, really watch that. Cannot give up the H-file. Let me just say that. And James' rooks are not cornered. I don't like what he just did there. This is checkmate, guys. And looks like White can do double rooks. He can do double rooks here on the H-file. You're going to probably have to... Okay, so I guess James says, hey, I can take and bring the rook back. Maybe that's the case. He says, I can take and bring the rook back. I like the pressure he's putting on the d6 pawn. Now this rook is actually doing something. He's probably going to go rook c6 so he can be more active, and rook c4. That looks more active here. You definitely got to watch out for rook h3. Threatening rook h8 and any type of problems on any back rank. Got to watch out for that. But now I believe in James' idea of just keeping pressure on these d6 and this g4 pawn. Keeping that pressure on. b3 is played here. Is it because he wants to play c4? I don't know, but I definitely believe, well, he did that to stop rook c6 and then rook c4. So that's why he did that. Makes some sense. All right, let's go to, I already have a win here. We do. Hyman wins the game here, so let's get a wolf howl while we have it. You know, anytime we win a game, we want to give a wolf howl. We couldn't do it the last time because we lost. We didn't win any games. That's right. Michigan Monsters are on the board. All right, Giancanti has played rook c6, and we see a quick king d2. But we're keeping him attached to this pawn here on d6. That makes a lot of sense. Giancanti is... Now, what is he playing here? I like the fact that he had him attached to the pawn here. Now, I do not really know what he's trying to do at this point. Oh, I see. He wants to go bishop to... I see. Ah, he did it this way. Okay. So now I think he's going to actually play rook to e5. That was, again, Giancanti with the tactics. Really, really excellent tactical player. He goes back to the pawn here. Now, how about rook to e5 here? I think we win a pawn with that move, rook e5. Rook e5 here. As Thunder04 again has 5 seconds. That did not work against Tony Nichols. Can it work with 5 seconds? Is it possible for this guy to keep finding the greatest moves with only 5 seconds on the clock? I like this move here. This is not a move that Thunder04 had in his mind. So that's why I like it so much. I want to keep the pieces on the board and wait for this mistake. I want to go back to c5, guys. I want to go back to c5. That's what I want to do. The X-ray threat is rook takes f5 in a lot of variations. So I want to go back to c5, keeping the position. But he does trade. Wait, what? Oh, there was a rook d5 check that would win. So he gets a pawn out of that. Excellent tactics. Excellent. And look at the active king by Thunder04. I will say, it's amazing that Thunder04 is able to play this accurately with no time on the clock. Now he's threatening to bring his king over to the queen side and snatch some pawns. So Giancanti has to be careful. Let's check on the games really quickly. This is not me. Is up almost 3 minutes in his position. He's down a knight, so doesn't look good here, but he's way better time. But that king is butt naked, though. That king is butt naked. A simple rook to f4. Yeah, I think that king, rook f4, and then rook takes. Why not? I like Tony's position. He has I guess a pawn, but the king is so badly placed. I like Tony's position. He's using the time right now. Ryan Wang. Ryan, what happened here? He loses the game. Yes. He loses this game here. Wow. Up 2 pawns here. And he loses this game. So we are down that game. We have a win from squat to depth. Ryan loses his game. Let's go back to GM Canty. He's going against a guy who's making great moves in 2 minutes. It's amazing that he could do this. This guy is down 2 pawns here. He's down 2 pawns. And he's making good moves with 2 seconds left on his clock. Amazing. This is not me here. He's playing chess for Adu. 29 seconds left. His king is the problem here. Oh, he doubles the rooks up. Makes some sense. Do you really want to trade those rooks? Does. So maybe Tony Nichols thinks he can go for a draw with this king being so bad. I would have chose a different route, keeping the pieces on the board. Maybe attacking the d4 pawn instead. Here's a check here. Now I believe chess for Adu. I mean, this would be a big victory for chess for Adu. Because we can't afford another draw. We lost the Ryan game. And we wanted to pick up some points here. Some points. Look at, whoa, look at that. Oh my goodness, what a move here. That gets the queen back here with knight f3 check. Wait, what? Oh, he's pinned. I'm sorry. He thought he was getting it back, but he's pinned. Oh, man. So, wow, what a change of events. He's pinned. He can't get it back. That was a big blunder. Wow. All you got to do is make sure, Tony Nichols, you gotta make sure you don't catch the winning disease. It's so easy to do this because you just seen that he missed a great move. Stop the check here. How about that? Let's stop the check. There he goes. Tony's going to have to use his time and really figure out what he's doing here. He can go king to e5. Well, actually, no. Yes, he can. He can go king e5. King e3, I'm sorry. Because he has this check stopped. And then he goes check here, right? And then stop the check here, h3. Oh, he does it a different way. That's excellent game. That's an excellent position here. Now he has 9 seconds. Let's go to GM Canty here. GM Canty wins the game here. So we got that win. This is not me. We win this. If we win this game, we get a 3-1. What a big difference, because that game was losing for This Is Not Me. Now he wins the night. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, This Is Not Me wins. Oh my God. Adam, you're right. It's a miracle. Whoa, we win that 3-1. It should have been 2-2, but in this game, and he did it so, with so much demand that I actually thought, what a great move. But when he sacrifices queen here, he didn't realize that he can't move the knight because it's pinned. And so that brought us back from the dead. And what a big win. It might even make up for the loss that he had where he was winning against their top board. So Thunder 04. And what a good win for Mr. Nichols. That gives us 3-1 in this round. Oh, yes. And now we're going to go into the last round. And hey, I got some wolf howls and some screams to give you guys while I well, there's a delay on the wolf howls. Sorry, guys, but we'll have some wolf howls coming up for you. I owe you guys 3 wolf howls and ghost screams. We'll have that coming up because that's what we do for every victory. And just a little slight delay. As we wait for these games to upload, we just went, we won that 3-1. So that means we now have 5 and a half, and they have 6.5. So now we're down a game. Oh, going into the last round, down a game. And I must say, I'm gonna say this. Going into the last round, since they're so balanced, I know Adam, he was losing in that game by so much, right? Going into the last round, since they're so balanced, I have the big match is going to be Derek Zhang versus James Canty. That is going to be for all the marbles. And I think James is going to have black in that match. Mark Hyman versus their top board. I have confidence there. And then Nichols versus their third board. I think this is the best match for us that we could have. And we need to gain a point in order to go move on and be the 2020 States Cup champion. We need 2 points for that. So we have to beat them by 2 points. But if we win by 1 point, it would be a tie and we would go to tie breaks, where it's going to be all about the blitz, I guess, which is going to be insane. I'm not going to root for tie breaks. I would like to win in regular time control, but that will be very interesting. All right. So what you're seeing here now, we have This Is Not Me versus Warm Oatmeal. Updated board is Mark Hyman versus Thunder 04. Now is their top board versus our top board. But like I said before, they're way more interchangeable than we are, right? We're kind of top heavy. You see, the game has already started to play between Thunder 04 and Mark Hyman. And it looks like Mark Hyman, who has white pieces now, looks like he actually knew what was happening here. It looked like an English that was played. And so far, white has an extra pawn here already. But I'm getting the point that this is preparation. This c4 pawn doesn't look like a pawn that we can keep. Doesn't look like it. Maybe queen a4. Would that be a move? Queen a4, which attacks. Yep, he does play queen a4, protects c4, and attacks a7. That's a move. So that is, now let's look at James Canty's game here. We got to take a look at this, guys. This is the last game. They haven't started playing yet. This is not me. Have he started playing this game? He did. They oops. Sorry. They just now started to play their game. Get a little refresh there. I know, Adam. That's around that's our attempt at a comeback. We're only down one game after the very bad second round, where we lose 3.5 to a half, but we come back and win 3-1. Actually, let me make sure that's right. Yeah, we're down one game, right? Yeah, we're down one game. Oh, this is one of my favorite positions. This is a London system played here. This is not me. As Tony Nichols has the has the black pieces. Me being a London system player, this is not how you want to play the London system with the black pieces. But I will say he did play knight f3 first. It does take away the sting of queen b3, like it would normally have. It does. But how does he play? Because he could play queen c8. That's possible. And then what you want to do is go knight d2 and rook to c8 there. Or you can try to hold on to the pawn with d takes d5. So, I don't like, and then I really don't like this position here. Like if he just took on c5 here, he's definitely prepared for this. And that's come from my experience being a London system player. He also could have tried queen takes b6, a takes b6, and bishop c7, and knight d7, and bishop d5 line. So I think white is better in this opening. Ryan Wang here. Let's update his board here. What's happening? They're not playing yet. Okay. Jim Canty, he has something on the board here. And this is against Derek Zhang. Now you see that big difference here, almost a 200 points difference in quick chess. But don't underestimate the preparation of GM Canty. And this, I think, is probably the biggest game of this. Because we need GM Canty to score in this game. We need him to score. And let's see what happens, because it looks like this might be something that I don't know if GM Canty is that prepared. So this looks like a King's Indian attack from GM Canty here. A King's Indian attack with the bishop on b7 here. So GM Canty elects just to play chess by playing something that doesn't have as much theory, and see who's the best here. As we look at the chess4 I do in Ryan Wang game as it updates. What is this? Like a Queen's Indian type of a setup here. What happened here? What kind of opening was it? It was a Nimzo Indian here. And with the d5 push, it turned into some type of Queen's Gambit there. And so, yeah, black is definitely okay in this position. For warm oatmeal versus This Is Not Me. This Is Not Me has fell down about 3 minutes down. And he's playing that London system, and that was like, I have experience in this, and I would rather be white here, because this queenside attack with this b4 and b5 push, this is something that you do not want to be in when it comes to the London system. So, in my experience, this is not looking good for Tony Nichols. Now, I like f6. He wants to shut out the bishop on e5. But he has to really watch this position here. Gotta watch it. All right, so back to GM Canty here. We see that white has a little bit more space here. Trying to figure out what he's gonna do with the bishop. Bishop probably gonna go to b2. It's gonna be a c7 pawn that could fall under attack on the c file. So c file is gonna be crucial in this game here. So I like white because it's a little bit of a space advantage here. I'm looking at queen c2 and maybe rook d1, trying to take over the d file. With that being said, black has some pretty harmonious development going on right now. Nice bishops here. So hold on. Can I ask you guys a question? What if the threat from James Canty is actually bishop or b4, bishop d6, and e5? Isn't that trapped? Or is queen d5 the saving grace? Maybe queen. Oh, you can't go queen d5. I'm sorry. So b4 is a big threat for Derek Zhang as he falls more than 4 minutes down. b4 and e5, and that's a piece. Guys, that's a piece. So he has to figure something out here. And so GM Canty is taking advantage of this development lead that he has. One tempo, probably a couple tempos that black needs to completely equalize. Let's look at Mark Hyman, who had to destroyed Derek Zhang in their matchup. That helped us to the 3-1 lead there. But in this game, I don't know what happened here. Mark is literally, he's down a pawn. But it looks like the pawn might be coming back on d5. But this doesn't look like, I mean, I know it's a lot of game to be played. This is looking like it doesn't look like there's an advantage for white. And if anybody, this rook that made it to the 7th rank or the 2nd rank is actually doing pretty well. I would rather be black here. I know there is a bishop on d7 that's really not active right now, but I might rather be black here. And then there goes black. He activates his bishop on a4. Look how he has the bishop on a4 and the knight on a3. But these pieces are actually doing a pretty decent job, even though they're on the rim of the board. So this is tough for Mark Hyman here. He's gonna have to do some figuring here. It's not gonna be easy. All right. So what happened here is Derek Zhang moved the knight from e7 to put it on c6, so the bishop has a retreat square on e7. So I don't know if I would still play b4. That's possible. But then now there's a control over d4 here. He just goes bishop back here. And then maybe I would play queen c2. Yeah, for sure. So queen c2 and then bringing the rook to d1. Which rook? Probably the f rook, d1. He goes f4 here. That's interesting. Is he planning on playing f5? I'm not sure. But that makes some sense, I guess. I wonder if he can actually play queen to d3 here. I know he has knight to c3. You got queen e3 check. I wonder if he can do that. Queen d3 and then put the rook up and then try to equalize in that manner. I don't know. But James Canty has more than 5 minutes time advantage here. So I like white in this position with a slight space advantage and a better development advantage as well. Let's go to Tony Nichols. Mr. Nichols here. He was playing the black side of this London system And now I actually think that it looks a little bit better here because White's king is in the center. Rooks are not connected. So Tony Nichols can continue to try to use his development advantage if he can. Knight takes c5. That was hanging. Wow. So what's happening here is 7 pawns here. Oh, there's b4. White is planning on trying to push his pawn majority. Now, am I willing to give up my bishop pair? If that's the case, I actually really like black. Because the bishop on h2 is just hitting a brick wall. I actually really like black here. So I think Tony did an excellent job in this position for sure. And now he's gaining the time back. He's down 2 minutes, but it's going to come a time in this position. I think black is like black here. Now, here we have Ryan Wang, who has more than a 4-minute advantage. Now, one thing I will say about the Washington team, they're low on time, but they play great when they're low on time. They use your time. They're not in a rush. I can see why they're here with us in the championship. And plus, they're so balanced. So balanced. And here Nichols is playing this famous, I'm sorry, this is Ryan Wang, who has black. He has this stonewall structure he's playing here. Good grip over the e4 square. And you see what White is trying to do. He wants to bring his bad bishop outside the pawn chain, but right now, that's actually not possible. So chess4i do is really using his time to figure out how he's going to proceed. Okay, so what he did is he played queen h5 so he can actually play bishop to h4 eventually. But right now, we still have too many things covering that. Maybe his plan is to rook left, rook to f3 and rook 2. Rook f3, rook h3, rook left. Maybe that's his plan. Now, what I do not want to do is play g6. I smell a sacrifice and a rook left after that. Knight takes g6, h takes g6, queen takes g6, check, king h8, and then rook f3. And I think that is losing. So we don't want to play that. He does play knight f6. So I'm wondering, is he looking to trade a couple of minor pieces? So maybe after the queen moves away from the attack on f6, is he trying to play knight takes c3, pawn takes or bishop takes or rook takes, and bring the other knight to e4 and liquidate here? Ryan definitely needs to look at the other games to see what kind of result he needs before liquidating too much. Now that is the key to team chess. I see Adam, you say Tony should be almost winning here. Let's check it out. Yeah, Tony's position looks good. Yes. I like Tony's position. This nice knight on d3. You see White reacts with h4. White wants to be able to use the h file there. I wonder if he's looking to open that file now. But the problem with White's position is the rooks are not connected. Now the rooks are. Now they are connected here. I wonder if we could actually play the move d5 here. We win a pawn, or do we care about this pawn? Maybe we do not care about the h4 pawn. If we play d4, that knight has to go. And where does that knight go, by the way? Maybe it can go forward, but we do win an h4 pawn. I'm just not sure we want to win it. And we might, because we get to open up the g file too with f5. So that's something Tony Nichols has to do, and he actually does it. He does it. He plays the move e4, attacking the knight, and he is going to go for winning the h4 pawn here. And maybe he wants to actually open up the g file, and I am okay with that. I like that plan there. I really do. I like that plan there. All right, let's go to Jim Canty here versus Derek Zhang. Jim Canty has more than half the time of Derek Zhang here, and he's really pressing him on development. I will say this, guys. Not predicting anything, of course. But seeing that we lost the 1 round, 3.5 to a half, we're down a point. We couldn't be in a better position out of the openings in all of these games, guys. We could not be. As I said again, we are down 1 point here. I'm sorry I didn't update because now I can update. Sometimes these things take time. And we were down 1 point, so we need to win by 2 points to win the match, which is doable. And also, since this is the last as I put some of our signature sounds out there for the wins that we had earlier, and I update the score. Normally in the last round, we put on our theme songs. We are the Michigan Monsters, and you can't be a monster without the music. Right. As we look at GM Canty, who has a big time advantage, dominating the D file. Look at the knight on B8. That's so bad. This knight on B8 cannot go to A6 because there's B5. Look at the pawn on E5. Remember, James Canty wins with a pawn on E5 quite a bit. Our saying is a pawn on E5, the castle king dies. So that is something here. So James is looking at how can he turn the screws even more. I mean, it's so many things that I think he could do. Knight E4 is a good move, but you might not want to trade so much with a position where this guy's just really cramped. Kind of want to force him to make mistakes here. Now Mark Hyman here against Thunder 04. He has a minute lead in time. That doesn't mean much with Thunder 04. Mark Hyman is down a pawn here in this position. So that is concerning. But this knight here is in a... Now, I will say this. I can see Mark's rook becoming active. But of course, we like to get the points and not the equality to get a draw. But the rook, I can't see the rook becoming active. There is a passed D pawn for black. So I do believe black is better in this position, for sure. So as he takes here, he trades off. Whoa, okay. And there's going to be a knight C6 move, I believe. And then maybe a move rook to C1. Wow, okay. So he plays this move, bishop to C4. He's protecting his A2 pawn. Mark has his work cut out in this top game. This is going to be a very big game here for Mark. He has a 2-minute lead, but he is currently down a pawn in a bishop, rook, and king versus knight, rook, and king game. Let's look at Chess4 Adu versus Ryan Wang. This looks like a lot of liquidations here. A lot of liquidation. But Chess4 Adu is down in time here by about almost 5 minutes. Warm Oatmeal versus Mr. Nichols. This is not me. Mr. Nichols is down in time here with the black pieces. I am concerned Mr. Nichols is actually down, a pawn here. And what happened here? He's down a piece. Oh no. He is down a piece here. Oh my goodness. I do not know what happened here. Mr. Nichols is down a piece. Wow. I don't think he can walk up here. He can't go back. Does he have to trade? Looks like he does. And he's just down a piece, and this is not looking good here. Guys, we have to win by a point in order to tie it. And Mr. Nichols' position, he has a pass pawn for a bishop. Not look good. All right, so James Canty here. We are looking good here. We are looking good here. James, it looks like he's trying to do is use this H file, put his queen on the H6 square, and that would give him a game. That would be game, guys. Do we actually, now I will say this, should we actually trade this bishop? He does. He does trade that bishop. Now I do not know why he moved. Oh, he just stopped the queen c6 check. That's what he stopped there. He didn't want to trade queens here. It makes a lot of sense. c5 is going to be coming here, but it doesn't force a trade, thank God. And he's probably going to go knight f3, queen c6, then queen to f2, head into h4. And that's a hard thing to do with when you only have 1 minute left. So we got that game here. Hyman was he's actually down a pawn. So still in time trouble. He's still down a pawn, guys, with 5 minutes left. That's not looking good for us. Mr. Nichols losing. That would make it 2-2. They will be the champions. I say 2-2, but Ryan Wang is not. This is not better for black here. This is tough. Now I wonder, how is this bishop getting back in the game? Actually, this bishop that's on f7, it looks to be kind of trapped here. So Ryan could actually figure, if he can figure this out, he might be able to win a piece because the bishop is lacking squares. So he has enough time to think about this. Hopefully he can get that. Let's go to This Is Not Me. It's over. Warm Oatmeal beats. So we're down a point there. We're down a point. Now all they need is one more point and they are the champions. Washington will be the champions. Oh no, Jeff, you say, what, Tiny? Tiny Hunger, please. Where? What? Tiny? What do you mean Tiny? Who's Tiny? Not Tiny, you mean Tony? Tony Hunger Peace. Oh no, Hunger Peace, no. All right. All right, we just need everyone to step up. Ryan, no, Ryan took with the knight. I thought maybe he might have had a chance to trap that piece. Hey, what about Bishop here? Bishop to e2, rook h3. What's going on there? Hold on, that bishop is trapped. Come on, Ryan! Come on, Ryan! We need that game. That bishop is trapped, Ryan. Let's go. Let's go. We need that game. First of all, guys, we need 2 points and a draw. That would tie us, I believe. Yes. Right? I think so. 2 points and a draw would tie the game, tie the match. So Ryan now is up a piece here against Chess for Adu. Up a piece. Let's go to this Nichols. We lose that game. Canty here. He has 7 minutes. Okay, he has 7 whole minutes. But right now there is a double attack here. What do we do here? There is a double attack. He's trying to figure out what he's going to do. He has 7 minutes to figure it out to 10 minutes there. I wonder if he made a quick move to be getting this position. You know, I'm weary of the... Oh, he allows it. What does he see? He sees that he can avoid the checks. Look like maybe he can avoid it on G5. The king will walk to G5. And he can avoid all checks there. Uh-oh. Wait a minute. Would King G2 be the best one? We don't need a draw. Oh, no. We need this win from you. That might not be good. Ouch. GM Canty had a lot of time to think. I don't know if he can walk this away. Can he walk this out? No. There's the check. Oh no. GM Canty had to calculate that. Oh. He had to calculate that. Mark Hyman is up in time. I will say this. Up in time. Down 1 pawn, but up in time. So maybe this is the game I was hoping that would be a draw. Is this game with Mark Hyman, not the game with James Canty. We have 1 loss, and we can't allow them to have, wow. Looks like Ryan is winning this game. I will say that Ryan is winning his game. Has a big time advantage. But the GM Canty game is no. So that's 1.5. That is 1.5. So that means we need Mark Hyman to win his game now. Mark Hyman has saved us before in our match versus New Jersey. He saved our lives. He saved our lives there. Okay, what's up, Matthew? Oh, okay. 21 always. I think Matthew James moved too fast in that game. You had 6 minutes to try to avoid the draw and look at it. It's not like 2 minutes left is going to stop you from gaining a draw because you're just straight up in a checkmating position. There's no way they can stop checkmate. So you should use your time to figure out, is it possible to avoid the perpetual check? Now, let's go to Hyman. Because we think that, now Marcus, now it's 2 pawns to 3 pawns here. We need to win, guys. We need to win. What is Mark doing here? He's creeping up on the knight. Can he? Is that going to be enough? I do not think so. He has to bring king back here, the D3 back. He has to bring it back. He can't go forward. But he has the time though, guys. Woo! Oh my God. Yeah, dude, this is tough. Ryan should win this game. He's up by a piece. Or is it 2 pieces? He's up by 2 pieces. Ryan, let's go back to the Mark Hyman game. Come on, Mark. Let's go. Woo. Mark is using his time here. We have to win, and he goes for the pawn. He's figuring that he has enough to queen the pawn. Woo, that's a hard decision to make, guys. What is this? Mark Hyman has shown great in-game technique. What is happening? What is happening? What is happening? Can he go bishop d5 and prolong these pawns? That's what I want to know. Can he do it? There's a knight check coming. Mark is using his time. Woo! Oh my God. Oh, he takes the pawn. So he has calculated that maybe he could queen one of these pawns, hopefully. Oh boy. I do not know if he's calculated this correctly. It definitely doesn't look like that, but he has to go for the win. He has to. What? That was a good move here, but you're gonna have two passed pawns here, guys. Okay, he has two passed pawns. What's happening here? Take, and then there's a passed pawn here. Wait, what? Oh, he gives that up. Oh no, this is a draw. No. Oh no. I think that's it. We have a draw on Canty's board, a draw on Mark Hyman's board, that's a point, and we have a loss on Tony Nichols, that's 2 points, and they had 6.5, that gives them 8.5, and the Michigan Monsters have lost the States Cup Championship. Congratulations to the Washington chess team on winning this match. Actually, I don't know what happened with Ryan's game, but it looks like Ryan is actually, like, he's losing this game. But then again, congratulations to the Michigan. It looks like, yeah, he is actually losing this game. So now there is no doubt at all. Congratulations to the Washington chess team for defeating the Michigan Monsters here at the Michigan 2020 Michigan Michigan States Cup. We had a great season, Michigan Monsters. We just could not overcome that second round match there, that second round where we lost 3.5 to 1/2. We tried our best in the next round and won 3-1. But this is going to give our opponents, the Washington State chess team, the win here. I know Matthew, he was winning in many ways. I just believe he just made a quick move where you had the draw in hand, but you just had to just relax. And you could take your 4 minutes on your clock to see if there was a way that you can prevent the perpetual check or prevent any tactics after you put your queen on h6. That's all. But that's okay. James Canty has a great record here. And I mean, without James Canty and all of these players that played today, the Michigan Monsters wouldn't be where they are, as we just look at Ryan Wang lose his game to Chess4Adu. So that Mark Hyman game wouldn't have mattered much anyway because of that result. And so as I update the score, they get 2 wins and 2 draws, right? So they have 3 here. And so they win 9.5 to 3. Sorry, no, that is wrong. 9.5 to 6.5. 5.5. 9.5 to 6.5 is the score. And so I fix this. So we have come to the end of the Michigan State Cup. Yeah, the Monsters had a great run, Adam. Yeah, you can't win them all. That was actually the Michigan Monsters' first loss in the States Cup. We had some tied matches. That was the first loss. Congratulations to the Washington team there. You guys played a really good match, coming up clutch in the last games of the match. This has been a wonderful season. I really enjoyed everyone who tuned in to the Michigan Chess Association YouTube channel and watched me stream. I did this for the love of the game, and I think we've started something here. Hopefully we can start something even bigger. Our cult following of the Michigan Monsters, I'm pretty sure there will be a next season because of the success of this season, and probably way more teams the next season. But we are the 2020 runner-ups this year, as we are defeated by the well-deserved Washington State chess team in the finals for the Michigan Chess Association. Excuse me. For the Michigan Chess Association, and our team captain and our Michigan Chess Association president, Jeff Aldridge. Make sure that you like and subscribe to this channel, share it. We had a great season with Michigan State Cup.